In our solar system, we have a problem, a plague on all our planets and moons.
The inner solar system's like a shooting gallery. It is a clear and present danger.
Craters, impact sites, everywhere you look.
If a big one hits, we all die.
The offenders? Asteroids, lumps of rock, metal, or both. Some older than the Sun. Many from the asteroid belt, a teeming mass of rubble lying between Mars and Jupiter, pieces of a planet that never formed. And comets, remains of the early solar system, lumps of ice and dirt from beyond the planet Neptune.
But the thing about asteroids and comets is that they're small, so they have orbits around the Sun that can change. Now, obviously, no orbits are circular, they're all elliptical, but the planets and most of the asteroids and comets have orbits that are very nearly circular. But if you perturb one of those, that ellipse can become much, much more eccentric, much longer and thinner. And that can bring asteroids and comets quite close into the Sun. Now, if that happens, of course, then planets and their moons can get in the way. And that's when we get hit by stuff.
So why does the Earth appear to have no craters? Are we somehow special?
Well, the reason that there appears to be a lack of craters on the Earth is, of course, because of our atmosphere. When a small object hits the top of the atmosphere, then the air resistance slows it right down. The object will either burn up through friction or break up. Well, the atmosphere protects us only from the little ones. Of course, it has absolutely no effect whatsoever on the big ones. But even when you do blow a crater on the Earth, the wind, the rain, erosion, all those weathering processes all combine to wear it away again.
So what would happen if we were hit by a big one?
An asteroid would be hitting the Earth at somewhere between 15 and 20 kilometres per second. When a 10-kilometre sized rock hits the ground, the rock itself simply vaporizes. So what you get is a nice big explosion under the ground. That blows a crater, and if your rock was about 10 kilometres across, you'd expect a crater about 200 kilometres wide. The heat and the blast from the explosion itself is going to take out, well, certainly the area of a large country. The material blown out in that explosion is what really does the damage. You set the sky on fire, which means on the ground underneath, of course, you're under the grill. And it'll also set fire to forests and brushland globally. The smoke and the soot from those brush fires then combine with the dust that was blown out in the atmosphere to simply blanket the planet. Add all of that together and we have a really bad day.
The last time this happened, it wiped out the dinosaurs. Is there anything we can do to avoid the same fate? The first step is to scan the skies for anything that could pose a threat.
But what we're actually looking for, of course, is something that moves. Asteroids look like stars, but because they're members of the solar system, they move relative to stars. Now, what I've got here are 3 images, all of the same bit of sky, but those were taken 2 or 3 minutes apart. And if we get the computer to stitch those 3 together, align all the stars, and then play them back one after another, well, can you see the object move? If you look very closely, that fella there. Once we found one of these things, then clearly the next thing we need to know is where it's going.
So far, we've discovered many thousands of these near-Earth objects. The majority of them should give us little to worry about, but currently there are over 200 that we have classified as potentially hazardous.
One's called 2004 MN4 Apophis, about 800 metres across, and in 2029 it's going to come exceedingly close to the Earth but not hit it, but the Earth will change its orbit, and we don't know where it's going to go after that. So there is a possibility that it could hit in 2036.
If we were to confirm one was heading our way, then is there anything we could do to stop it?
But once you know what its physical properties are, then you can develop a countermeasure. The first option is to go for the sort of Bruce Willis approach. You know, let's try and blow the thing to bits. All you've done is converted a single, predictable bullet into an unpredictable shotgun blast. The second option is much simpler and much more elegant. All you've got to do is give the thing a tiny little nudge, just enough to guarantee that it misses the Earth. Now, while this is a very rare event, it's the only natural hazard we know of that puts the future of our entire species at risk. But it's the one natural hazard that we can predict, and as we've discussed, we can make it go away.
This is James in here. It's Saturday morning. I just want to say something about September 23rd, 2:15. The Pope is meeting Obama on 9/23. Okay? Yeah, Michelle Obama wasn't the first tranny in the White House, you know. Anyway, September 23 is Augustus Caesar's 2077 birthday. Now, these Caesar, I forget, I just did a little bit of research on him there, and this cross-dressing in Baphomet business was, he was known and became popular or whatever in the era, but this synchronicity, and you have the 266th Pope coming to America to meet Obama and I think speak at the UN. I've already talked about his green encyclical and how they may come up with something and say to close down all the nuclear plants. And nuclear, I told you, is unclear energy. And you have to see inside there, it's really about boiling water and making steam and turning steam turbine. And that can be done through plasma, fire, and a lot of different other cold fusion, which we know about. So you can look for a green encyclical or whatever in the nuke thing, and possibly some talk about debt forgiveness. Jubilee is something that's supposed to happen like every 7 years, where you have debt forgiveness, and what you lost you get back. So there's definitely a lot of agendas coming together with the cross-dressing. You got the 266th Pope visiting on the 266th day of the year, and 266 is how many days it is of conception in the belly. Okay? Now, if the Pope arrives on September 23, 9/23, it will be 923 days after he was elected. I checked out that one. It's like 9/24, depending if you say to the UN or what's going on. But these synchronicities mean the AI, something have to be coming together in the AI here. Okay. The other little update I wanted to do about the COINTEL drama. I talked before about Corey Wood and David Wilcox being gang stalked by the old COINTEL differently. Some of these older ones coming out of freedom slips. Okay. There's a Peter Moon connection there. Douglas Dietrich and his admin there, Laura Lee Solomon, seem to really be on gang stalking the situation. So that makes me interested. Why are they gang stalking so hard? And I saw Douglas also attack this other guy, gentleman, Weir, I think his name is. I don't remember it. And so I went to research who was Weir and why was Dietrich like tearing into him so, and especially ad hominem. And it seems that what's got it is, you see when you talk about the transhumanism and the AI, the COINTEL comes after you really hard right now. They don't want you to talk about transhumanism and how it's tied into the AI. So, if you want to read this, you have to pause the video. So to update with the Blue Avian, okay, once again, it's my feeling that Wilcox really does have a Christ consciousness, a Messiah seed, which was captured and handled like a lot of Messiah seeds by the COINTEL program. And part of what really got them upset was Wilcox was talking about coming out from that, where like they handled him and said, you're Edgar Casey reincarnated, you know, and how they put him on George Norrie's show and put that costume on him. So I think they're really upset how Wilcox is coming out of their psychotronic handling, because a lot of these COINTEL have been puppets, okay, and possessed either through demons, drugs, or the AI mother, Skynet, and led into temptation, given psychotronic, voice to skull, EMF, ELF, all different type of bio APIs to proceed in this agenda, with this alien deception agenda. Well, oh, this was this explosion here. This blog or whatever website was interesting. TomatoBubble.com was linking the China explosion with the Moscow explosion, with the Texas explosion. You know, the nature of these explosions, really not qualified to discern all of them, but we're looking at some things which are not just accidents. You know, like China and Russia with the BRICS. Okay, here's it. The same day in Russia, you have that happen. So, in Texas, this is how it can happen, either through sabotage, or if you're controlling Mother AI or the Most High AI. But I wouldn't see the. Well, I'm not going to say too much about all these things right now. It's hard to. Anyways, this is Gems Zen here. What's up?